kicked it. Here, let me go back this way.
Okay, there you go. There you good.
Now it looks all centered again.
Kicked it. You did it.
Probably, because there's lots of stuff going on. Special episode of Durnk where we are going to talk about the Batman vs Superman movie.
Spoilercast.
I'm just gonna go out and I'm gonna say, listen, it's been like a long time since the movie came out. If you haven't seen it,
when did it come out?
Like 2 weeks ago or some shit. So it's like,
Ages.
If you haven't seen it yet and you're watching this, it's your own goddamn fault if we spoil shit.
We've already said it's a spoiler cast, and it'll be in the name, and it'll be in the description, and there'll probably be a warning somewhere.
For sure. So here's the thing. People were super pissed at this movie.
Some people were super pissed.
Some people were super pissed.
Very divisive movie.
And I gotta ask, what the expectations were. I mean,
it's almost as if people didn't realize they were going to go see a superhero.
Right? I mean, exactly true. I mean, this is a comic book movie. This is a superhero film. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, I mean...
This episode brought to you by Fuzzy Navels.
For true. Okay, now, let's just get this out on the table right away. I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
I really enjoyed it too, which I think was a good sign because we went in with two very different things. You thought you were going to like the movie when you went in.
I thought I went in kind of reserved. I wanted to like. I want to like this movie, but the negativity had already started.
I thought it was going to be a steaming pile of crap. So the fact that we both liked it, I think.
Yeah, that means something.
Either we were thoroughly. Either we're not good at recognizing what good movies are, which I will accept if that's the case.
If that's the case. But I think part of that is recognizing what we think the movie should be in the first place, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. You walk into a Superman-Batman movie, I'm kind of expecting it to be a superhero comic book movie. I'm not looking for... I don't expect this to, shatter the Oscar race in any way, shape, or form. I'm not expecting to go in and learn something on my way out, like going, oh my goodness, that really opened my eyes in a very intellectual way.
I have a new appreciation for the struggles of a multi-billionaire.
Right? So that's my first question to any of you guys is, what were you expecting, for fuck's sake? Because you know what I saw? I saw a 2.5-hour movie with some fighting and some explosions and some attempt at some sort of skimmed along sort of this philosophical edge of what it would be like to have superpowers. Mm-hmm. And it was I thought, pretty interesting, and it ultimately didn't feel like 2.5 hours to me.
No.
And then I thought it went at a pretty good pace, and I never felt super bored.
I'd been okay with it 15 minutes longer, actually.
Yeah, and maybe even...
Spending a couple more minutes with especially some of the earlier stuff. People really didn't like the first half of the movie or first 3/4 of the movie or whatever. Right. A lot of people had a problem with the fact that it was sort of like an espionage movie for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then when it became that, then they complained about that part too.
I thought this was supposed to be an action movie. And I say, well, what do you... And maybe they have a point in that it
did feel like two movies.
It was a lot of things. Yeah, for sure. I ended up comparing it to the way that Dark Knight Rises felt. Mm-hmm. In that, Nolan's Batman, obviously a very different Batman, but...
Lesser, in my opinion.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's a good... And there you go. It'd be another interesting piece of this conversation. But it did feel like a lot of stuff going on. Right, but I did feel that I felt Dark Knight Rises was I felt like that should have been split into two movies. Where I look at this movie and I feel fine with all of the stuff they crammed into it. So I don't know. Am I saying that I think this is a better movie than Dark Knight Rises? I don't know if I can say that.
I would say absolutely not.
but it was
good.
It was still fun and enjoyable to watch. Okay, let's talk about a couple of things that people just really hate on.
Okay.
Number one, the casting. Do you have thoughts?
The only casting I thought was odd post seeing the movie was still Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor was a little off for me. Mm-hmm. He made some very bold choices with the way he took Lex, because nobody's ever done straight crazy Lex Luthor, which is what he went for. Lex Luthor, sure, he's always been a little off and maybe crazy, and definitely an egomaniac.
For sure.
But he was always a businessman and very driven person. And while Jesse Eisenberg did the driven part pretty well, he did this weird Heath Ledger Joker thing the entire time.
Yeah, it was very much more of a Joker Luthor than we're used to. I'd agree. I will say that I thought that Ben Affleck did a fine job. I'm sorry, Affleck. Did I slip that? I slipped that. My apologies.
Is there a wrong way to do it?
Affleck? I'm not a Ben Affleck.
Well, I guess that movie deal's gone, Chad.
I'm not a fan. But you know what?
Jersey Girl 2.
He was a great fucking, not only was he a great Batman, but he was a great Bruce Wayne. And that, you got to bring them both together to get
that's fundamentally a part that's never happened. That's why, in my opinion, he's the best Batman that's ever been in live action. Because every person who's played Batman in live action has not gotten the point. Batman is crazy. He's just as crazy as the Joker and Two-Face and the Riddler and all those motherfuckers he puts away. The difference is he fights crime. So he literally has a split personality. One is Bruce Wayne and one is Batman. And he transfers between them when he feels like it.
What? Nice.
Ben Affleck is the first guy to do a good job at both Batman and Bruce Wayne. Everyone else leading up to that has picked one. Sort of just picked one.
Yeah, for sure.
Christian Bale Christian Bale had an okay Bruce Wayne. His Batman was never great.
What do you mean Batman was never great? His Batman was fucking awesome. What are you talking about? See, that's because you got a lot of people right now who are big fans of that shit.
No, I love Christopher Nolan's Batman series, and I actually think Christian Bale did a good job. But his Bruce Wayne was always much stronger than his Batman.
I'd agree with you.
And it didn't have everything to do with him playing Batman. It had a lot to do with the way they built that, because if you go back and watch those and pay a lot of attention to the choreography, the fight choreography, it's real bad. It's not good. He'll block somebody and somebody in the background will fall down. It's like 1970s kung fu occasionally. But
oh man.
But and go back to Keaton. Keaton did a good Bruce Wayne as well. Didn't have a great Batman.
Not a great Batman, but great Bruce Wayne. Yeah.
Great Bruce Wayne. Who did a good Batman? Actually, Clooney had a good Batman. Terrible Bruce Wayne. Despite the fact that his bat suit had nipples on it. That has nothing to do with it.
That's something totally different.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
but
man.
In live action, all the actors have always picked one side of him and assumed, oh, he just puts on a mask and he's the same person. No, he's not. He's not the same person.
Agreed.
And Ben Affleck finally got that. Yep. He was the first guy to get that. The Bruce Wayne character is a lie. Is a character that he does on a regular basis, almost to a degree, like I said, a personality that he turns on.
Yep.
And you have to go between those at will.
Yep. So my next big thing, or the next big thing that's out there in the interwebs right now, is that Batman doesn't kill people.
Batman's killed people in the past. Michael Keaton killed a whole street full of people in the first Batman movie.
It's like a completely different set of rules for this movie than anybody gave a shit about it in all the other movies.
Most versions of Batman, yes, doesn't kill people or tries not to kill people. But generally, in some versions of that, he ends up killing somebody.
Yeah.
Actually, I was going through and I've been watching Justice League Unlimited, the cartoon series on Netflix. There's also the 2-season run of Justice League that leads up to Justice League Unlimited. I would recommend skipping that. The animation is good because it didn't have enough money. The dubbing's weird, and it's just about the original 6. And so there's not a whole lot of variance on what what stories they can tell.
Gotcha.
Justice League Unlimited is about the entire Justice League, all like 60 plus members.
Jeez.
So they go real deep on weird characters occasionally, and that's really interesting. But shit, what was I getting at?
Batman doesn't kill. But
in that version, Batman kills somebody. He one time he had to. Just he vows to not do it if he doesn't have to.
Right.
But he does. And even in the movie, I think they explain it to a certain extent. They show it's weird because Zack Snyder.
Yep, Zack Snyder.
I said Frank Miller. Zack Snyder, who directed this piece and actually co-wrote it, I believe.
I believe he was part of the writing. Yes.
His scripts are never solid.
So. And that's actually my next big issue is that Zack Snyder can't direct action films. And
Zack Snyder exclusively directs action
exactly. I mean, let's not forget that he brought us 300, which I don't think anybody would say that was a bad movie. No. I mean, 300 was a really well made film. And what was the other big one after 300 that he did?
Sucker Punch, but that's garbage.
The one before Sucker Punch, where he had again, it was a really strong source material that he was dealing with. I don't know. Anyway, the point is, the two movies that
did he do Watchmen?
Yeah, Watchmen. Thank you. When he did 300 and Watchmen, he had super strong source material to play with, and all he had to do was sort of tell that story, and he did an excellent job.
If you get a chance, go read Watchmen, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
The book is wildly better.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely, no doubt. But yeah, when you put into a situation where he's taking source material and then remolding it and trying to make it work, things tend to fall apart a little bit. So I wouldn't go so far as to say the boy can't direct action films. That's what he does. And sorry to break this to you, they're going to continue to let him make action movies
because they're visually
they make fucking money,
and they make a shitload of money.
Exactly. Across the world, this guy's made more money than for the studio. That's why they let him make fucking Sucker Punch.
Him and what's his name from the Transformers series.
Yeah. They're just going to continue to let those people make movies because they make a lot of money.
Yes.
So deal with that shit. He's already embedded to do the next two Justice League films. I mean, he's going to be the director.
He's the head. He's the head. He might as well be the head of DC film at this point.
And here's what I think. He's
what J.J. Abrams is doing for Marvel.
For sure. And this is ultimately where I think things where DC kind of gets screwed. And that is that you had all of these different these DC characters, right?
Yes.
And up until this point, there hasn't been anything that's really, they haven't built like a cohesive world for them.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
They've had all this Batman stuff, they've had the Superman stuff, they've done some other
things. Approached the movies very differently than Marvel
does, yeah.
Marvel's always said it's going to be one cohesive world. DC's always thrown stuff at a wall and said, maybe they like it.
Right, for sure. And, and not that you want the DC stuff to feel like the Marvel stuff. Mm-mm. I mean, and there are very different tones.
And I actually think with Batman v Superman, they have set a very different tone.
Right,
it's a much darker tone.
Yeah, and and it's a bit more sort of intellectual in certain ways. Mm-hmm. I mean, but to say that being
Marvel's more grandiose comic book at this point.
There's more humor there. There's all that stuff. There's not a lot of humor going on.
They're trying to sell everybody a PG-13 movie.
Right. I love the Marvel films. Don't get me wrong; they're fun stuff. The Avengers stuff, all the Iron Man stuff. I mean, it's good stuff.
Guardians, as previously mentioned.
And let's not forget about. Yes. Okay.
I could not be more excited for Guardians 2.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. I mean, after Deadpool, I mean, come on. Anyway.
Yes.
Point is, DC's created this world that's very different and kind of interesting because of that. Mm-hmm. But just because it's more intellectual and darker and all those kind of things doesn't mean it's boring in comparison. Let's not forget that half-hour scene in Avengers where the fucking hover fucking thing is starting to fall and Iron Man's spinning in circles for 15 minutes and I mean, we all loved the shit out of that, didn't we?
Yeah.
So shut up with your DC was boring because they had Congress and shit going on. Come on.
Okay. I want to get back to what I was saying before.
Yeah.
Because I was about to say that for a Zack Snyder film, there's a remarkable amount of subtlety in the movie. They explained away the brutality of Batman. He maims people. He kills people in this movie. And they explain it away in one very elegant shot in which he walks by the statue of Robin that has been spray painted, by Joker. I don't remember what the exact message is, but you couldn't protect your family or something like that.
Yeah.
The joke's on you.
Joke's on you.
Yeah. It's when Joker kills the second Robin, Jason Todd, and they prove in that one scene, and they don't explain it to anybody who doesn't understand that. They don't explain it to fucking anybody who doesn't understand the source material. They just show that, and then they move on with the thing, and that in itself explains the brutality it's coming from. They probably should have put a line in somewhere where he's yelling at Alfred, talking about, but they killed Robin.
Yeah, what about
something
Jason?
Like that.
What about Jason?
Yeah, or just say, what about Jason? They killed Robin, something like that.
Right.
And then they get away from it at the end. He could have branded Lex Luthor at the end of the movie. He chose not to. Lex Luthor deserved it wildly more than anybody else that he branded. He chose not to do it because he's choosing, as he says to Wonder Woman, to be better.
Right.
For everyone, including Superman. The amount of subtlety that Zack Snyder managed to, which I feel weird about saying, Zack Snyder managed to put subtlety into a superhero movie.
Yeah, and along the same lines, I mean, let's remember that it is a superhero movie. So the morality should feel kind of simple. I mean, I've read some things where people are like, oh, the psychology and the philosophy in the film are like that of a first year student at university. You know what? It's not for first, third, or graduate student philosophers. It's for fucking everybody.
When 12-year-olds sucker their grandma into taking them to the movie with them,
right?
The grandma still likes the movie.
There you go. This is baseline morality and philosophy, people. This is a comic book stuff.
Yes.
Let's not go so far as to think this has to be, literature, because it's not.
There's okay. I want to take a break from Passion on it for a second.
Okay.
There's a lot more stuff that I think we've both seen that people talk shit about this movie. Most of it's nitpicky bullshit.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you feel that way, then you're allowed to feel that way. Fuck
sure,
it.
absolutely.
I want to talk about things they did very, very well.
Okay.
In my opinion, that I think are objectively great that they did, that you can't argue with.
All right.
The use of CGI in this movie is not only gorgeous, but apt in every fucking scene.
Yeah.
Because not only the Doomsday fight at the end, not only everything Superman fucking does, which looked great, by the way. When they wanted him to look fast at that moment when he goes through that cloud, he looked really fucking fast. They used CGI during the Batman saving Martha, Superman's mom. They used CGI during that fight.
Yeah.
Just to prove the brutality of the stuff he was doing. To put guys' heads through the floor and into the wall because they can't actually do that.
And that's
without hurting somebody.
Right, and that's a great example of not noticing computer graphics in use. I mean, you would never look at that scene and go, "Oh, that was all kinds of computers there."
Yeah.
No, you would look at it and go, "Damn, that was a badass. He was a brutal motherfucker." That's what you say. So totally true. Great CG work.
When he slams that dude's head into that box, that was a padded green screen box. And then they put in a fucking hard box at the end of the movie. Like, that's great use of computer graphics. And at no point do you question it. Even Doomsday, who is completely made of CGI, looks really good.
True enough.
You can't say that about the Avatar movies.
No. Good point. Good point. Totally agree with you. Yeah.
You couldn't say that about everything in the last Star Wars movie.
Yeah, it's totally true. What else would you say was really well done?
Objectively good.
Objectively just good.
Other than Ben Affleck's performance.
Yep, great job.
The use of Wonder Woman in the movie. even people who didn't like some of the aspects of how they used her, like they didn't like sort of the espionage thing she was doing at the beginning, which I thought was great because Wonder Woman has always been a very intelligent character, one of the smartest characters in the DC universe. Yep. So her doing spy-esque stuff isn't that out of the realm of possibility.
Totally agree.
The fact that she wasn't a throwaway character and that she was great in every scene she was in, Gal Gadot's performance, and that her as a character was great. She was in every scene she was in.
Absolutely thought she did.
Should be applauded. She's a fucking former supermodel. Mm-hmm. She's not. She didn't go to some fucking acting school. She didn't go to Juilliard for 5 years.
She did cut her teeth in the Fast and Furious films.
She was in the Fast and the Furious movies, and they killed her off. I mean, she did a great job.
She did a fun job, and really, I feel like they did a really good job of not only introducing her, but also bringing in. And I know some people didn't like it, but I really liked how they brought in the other characters. They sort of started to build this world, this Justice League world.
Yes.
I love the oh shit, you're the Flash aficionado. What was the
Barry Allen?
When they brought Flash into it.
Flashpoint. When he travels through time.
Thank you. Yeah, that
when
Flashpoint.
he does his travel through time. Flash is, for anybody who says who would win in a race, Flash wins in a race between him and Superman.
Absolutely.
That's just
it's true.
Flash can move so fast he can travel through time. Flash can move so fast that he can actually leave this dimension. He can travel to heaven, and he almost did it one time in the Justice League Unlimited series I was talking about. He almost did it one time when Brainiac fused with Lex Luthor to become sort of this ultimate being.
Wow.
And he was kicking the shit out of everybody. And everybody was down for the count except for Flash, who was about to go down for the count. And this was Wally West, not Barry Allen. But Luthor looks at Brainiac, looks at him and says, "Do you really want to challenge me, boy?" And he starts to run away, and you're like, what? He runs around the world and punches him 7 times within a few seconds. He just takes off and runs the entire scope of the world within less than a second and punches him. It's called the Flash Punch. No, legitimately, and it's the most powerful move in the entire DC universe. Superman cannot hit that hard with anything he does. The Flash can hit the hardest of any superhero in the entire.
People.
Yes.
Physics,
yes.
bitches.
Well, it's not just that. It's the fact that his bones and cells are incapable of breaking down at that speed.
Wow.
That's what gives him the true power. Because it's not just moving that fast, it's moving that fast and the thing that hits you doesn't melt. It just stays its same consistency when it hits you.
Man, that's deep nerdism right there, people.
Also, he can move so fast he can vibrate through walls. I mean, he can vibrate his cells through things. That's how he ended up beating him. He got him to the ground and then vibrated Brainiac out of him. It was really cool. When the Flash does cool stuff, he's fucking awesome.
That's awesome.
The problem is they kind of wrote a shitty character. Like for his, it's generally a jokey character.
Yeah. But I did. I mean, I feel like
he travels back in time. I had somebody who had a problem with that. And I'm not going to say who. And they had it. They're like,
I've read some stuff. People don't like that they brought that much stuff in.
They didn't like. They're like, well, why was that necessary? I'm like, well, beyond launching more movies, I mean, that's why that Justice League shit was in there. They're trying to make more movies. But beyond that, how the fuck would Ben Affleck's character Bruce Wayne have thought to help Lois Lane later on? He literally says, "Find Lois Lane."
Yep. Lois is the key. Find Lois. She's the key to everything.
Maybe okay. He also says to build a suit because he's right about Superman. Maybe Bruce Wayne would have thought of that. I mean, that's probably a thing he would have thought of. But the Lois Lane bit, he would have never figured it out.
No, he wouldn't have.
It was integral. They made it part. They made it an important part of the story. It wasn't just a throwaway.
It's all going to work around, and we're going to see all that shit again, and it's going to be great. People are going to go, "What?"
To be fair, I'm not super happy about the casting of Flash.
But that's okay. That's all right. It's all right. And
unless he's Wally West and not Barry Allen, then that would be awesome. If he's Wally West and not Barry Allen, and then because Barry Allen's the one in the Flash TV show. If he's Wally West and not Barry Allen, that would be fucking incredible, because that means there would be 2 Flashes.
Oh, okay.
There's a shitload of speedsters actually, but
yeah, true.
Like because Wonder Woman. I'm going too deep now. Wonder Woman exists in Themyscira. That's where the island she's from. But that's also where Mount Olympus is. So all those old Greek gods exist there. So Mercury is the original speedster, and he exists there too.
See that? How deep that shit is. Point is, it will, depending on your. I mean, I think it all comes back to what your expectations of this movie, what this movie was supposed to be. As far as I'm concerned, I got a great ride, a great 2.5-hour experience, and I just had a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I'm actually excited now about what else the DC world might have to offer. I'm fine. I'm feeling good. Obviously, there's people who disagree.
I'm not one of them. No, I have some reservations about some of the side movies moving forward in the DC universe. I'm not going to go into it, but Suicide Squad's given everybody reasons to question at this point.
Yeah, well,
they're doing reshoots to add more jokes.
More jokes. Yeah.
Post Deadpool.
I told you that they will totally misinterpret what made Deadpool good, and they're gonna screw some shit up. But
oh man, that's not a good. You're about to ruin what I presume to be an incredible Jared Leto performance.
Yeah, it could have been.
Jared Leto's performance is going to be really something interesting because I think he put on the big boy because he's won an Oscar, but he has the capability of sitting down and just wrecking a movie with his just taking over your entire being during a movie. And him playing the Joker, I was actually very, very excited about.
But they could have just fucked
They might have
that
just fucked themselves hard.
And we will see. Time will tell.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it yet, and maybe we spoiled it for you, go see it. Just go make up your own mind.
If you've made it this far and haven't seen it yet and you're mad and typing, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, go see the fucking movie, okay?
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, so.
Good job, Zack Snyder.
Yep, absolutely. All right, next time we'll take a look at Pitch Perfect 2. We'll see.
Route 2 coming up soon.